happy Monday. I apologize for being on 5 minutes late. I can't believe I'm 5 minutes late today. I have been having some technical difficulties, so I apologize if you jumped on and you were like, where is she? It's another Monday. So for some people, it's a mindful Monday. For other people, it's a motivational Monday. But if you've been here on the Other Side podcast, you know it's another Monday where we get to really dig into some of the things that we love to talk about in terms of the other side of the mental health journey that we are all on in life. It's a lifelong journey. My name is Janelle Villiers. I am your coach through this process. I'm also an author. And I also coach people with authorship. So I have many different hats. But today I'm here to talk about the mental health journey. I'm really excited to talk about that. Something that I noticed, so in all the technical difficulties, sorry, I just had to share that I can now do this. I can also do this. Pretty cool. Or this. I thought this was pretty cool. Hey, congratulations. Or when it's not good and we're just really sad about life. Or when it's a celebration. Yay. Or, if I'm at like one of the raves. Sure. And then finally, 'cause baby, you're a firework. Okay, can't sing, but wanted to show you all of those because every time I do something like that, it always makes me really excited and happy about life. It's just like the little things that we can do to make technology a little bit more fun, even though I'm having difficulty with it right now. So let's get into today's topic. I really am excited to talk to you guys about. Perhaps you have dealt with this before, but I really wanted to talk about how to handle imposter syndrome. How do we handle imposter syndrome? Let's talk about it. All right. So, first of all, what is imposter syndrome? It's that feeling that you feel like you are doing something that you are not good at, and you feel like you're an imposter even trying to do what you're doing. You may even feel like you have imposter syndrome when you are physically in a space and that maybe you don't really belong, even though people feel like say that you belong, but like inside you don't really feel like you belong. And it could be a combination of both of those happening at the same time, to be honest. And I really wanted to talk about this because I think people just think like, oh, it's just like a lack of self-confidence or something like that. But I think it can actually come from a bigger sense of belonging, or a sense of lack of belonging. And so I really wanted to have a conversation with you guys about this because I don't think we really look at it this way, but I think it's important that we do look at imposter syndrome in this way, in the perspective of belonging. So yes, self-confidence can be built, and you all know I love to talk about shame-based thinking. And I definitely think there's a little bit of shame-based thinking, certainly a part of this, right? Like, I am wrong, I am bad, I don't belong here. I am being someone that I'm not, sure. But I really think it has to do with more with belonging, your sense of belonging in a room or in a situation. And so if you don't feel like you belong, I think that's what it is. I think imposter syndrome is more an indication that you don't feel you belong. And isn't that actually really what we should really be focused on, is maybe how can we create places and spaces where other people feel like they belong, that they are a part of, and then they can be their more authentic selves and we can support them better. And so I just want to ask you, number one, what are you doing, right? Are you creating spaces where people feel like they belong, or are you talking behind people's backs? Never a good thing. And if you are talking behind somebody's back, let me be very specific. What are you saying behind their back? Are you talking about like their life? Are you gossiping essentially? Or are you talking about them behind the back, but like lifting them up? Oh, let me tell you about Susie, or let me tell you about Johnny, right? Like, they're amazing, even behind their back, like you're still talking them up. Those kinds of things, I think, are the things that we really need to focus on. How are we creating a sense of belonging around the people around us? So that way people feel comfortable being with us, being around us. And then you sort of create your own environment where you feel like you're being celebrated and not like you're kind of there, but not really there to fit in, right? I think it starts with us. Mahatma Gandhi says, be the change you want to see in the world. And so I think it really starts with us. How can we create a sense of belonging? So number one, for me, it's how are you talking about the people that are in your life? Are you talking them up behind their back? Are you talking behind their back in terms of their drama, right? Then, well, because let's be honest, we all have drama in our lives. We all do. So it's really just a matter of whether someone is like trying to talk you up in a positive light or if they're like feeding into the drama. And so if you feel like you are doing that, please put that in the chat. Like, I want to find my people who are like in my tribe who love to talk up other people. If you're listening to this and you're like, oh man, I'm the kind of person who like gets into the gossip, gets into the drama, that's okay. It's totally okay. The first step of this is just to become aware that like you've been doing that. And then you can make a decision to just stop being participating in that. You can make a decision to make an effort to actually do the reverse. How can you not participate in the gossip anymore? And instead, how can you talk about people in a positive way in front of them and behind their back, right? Like, how can we do that? How can we lift each other up and support each other? I think another thing, so if that's you, go ahead and put in the chat. I want to know, tell me about it in the comments. The other thing that I was thinking about is in terms of creating a sense of belonging, it's who are your mentors, right? Like, who are the people who are showing you the ropes, who are telling you you're going down the right path? I really feel like we all need somebody in our life who can help mentor us through that. So if you're in a job, let's say you have a particular career path that you're on, who are your mentors? Who are the people who've kind of been where you are in the stages where you are, who can show you and like kind of course correct you as you go along your way? If you are not in a profession, but instead you're an entrepreneur, like myself, and many other people on here, you also need mentors, right? Right? Let's give a huge heart to all the mentors out there who are showing people how to do the thing that they did, right? In probably a smaller amount of time, or so either you're cutting out the pain or you're cutting out the pain of how long it normally takes, right? So shout out to all of the mentors. Love my mentors. As throughout my entire life, I've had several. And I don't think you can get very far without someone kind of like showing you along the way. Maybe not the entire course of your career or your business, but maybe you have maybe you have a mentor who helps you at certain points along your journey, and that's totally fine too. But certainly having somebody who can help you navigate through this really difficult, challenging space that you're in. And I think that certainly builds a place of belonging. The imposter that you may feel that you are, the mentor can actually tell you, hey, look, I felt the same way. I went through the same thing. You know, drawing on that empathy or sharing empathy with each other can help you like get away from this imposter syndrome that you're having. And let me just tell you, like, the reason, sorry, I should have started off by saying this. Imposter syndrome is important for me to talk about, because I feel like imposter syndrome holds us back from doing the best that we can do, or from fulfilling our purpose or our calling. I think it holds us back. So I really wanted to talk about this because I want to free people from the anxiety that you have, right? Because I know when I have imposter syndrome, I have a ton of anxiety that gets rolled up inside of me. What if I do it wrong? What if they see me sweat? What if I fail? What if, like, really and truly, because that's how I feel like I don't belong here. Like, I'm not really good at this. I don't even know why I'm on this platform or why I'm talking to these people or whatever, right? Like, all of that. It just creates an anxiety that I don't think that we need, and can hold us back from releasing our zone of genius, or from releasing what we've really been called to do and to say and to be. So if this is helpful for you, again, put in the comments, let me know. Or if you have a way that you deal with imposter syndrome, also put that in the comments and let me know. But I really do believe that mentorship is really, really key. I think that having a guide along the way is super helpful. For all of you who are in my 10-week author's voyage course, you know that we've talked about the hero's journey, right? And the arc of the hero's journey of a typical character plot and story is, that somebody calls somebody to do something courageous or to do something that they wouldn't normally do, right? And then they plan and they're trying to figure out what to do, how to do it, and what they're going to do. And then they start on the journey, and then they meet a mentor, right? Someone who can lead them along the way. And they get to a point where like, oh, I don't know how I'm going to go any further. I don't know how I'm going to do this. And then they find the resources within them in order to do it. And then they finally make their way back home with the prize or whatever the lesson that has been learned, et cetera. So, I mean, that's the hero's journey in a nutshell. But we were talking about this mentorship, that part that comes in the hero's journey. And I believe that the reason why this is so poignant for so many people is when they read a hero's journey is because they can relate to it. It's relatable. When you find that mentor in your life who can help you get through those challenges, help you navigate, that's huge, and will certainly help you with the imposter syndrome, because they can tell you how they felt. They can tell you like you're not alone, all of these things to help you navigate that. That way you can get more comfortable and be your more authentic self. So that way you can live out what your true purpose or your calling. Sorry, I just want to do that again. Woo! Lightning for all of the people who are living in their true calling and living intentionally in their purpose, right? And I believe that imposter syndrome will stop you from that. So definitely get a mentor. So my two big things are, I guess three. My three things is I think that imposter syndrome actually stems from a lack of belonging, a sense that like you don't belong. And I think one of the ways in which you can change that is, number one, change yourself, right? Be the person that you want to be, the change that you want to see in the world, and start creating communities, start creating supportive groups. If you're already in a group, be like outgoing and be supportive. Reach out to people and see how you can help them. Make a decision to stop gossiping. Make a decision to instead, even if the person's not there, that all you're doing is talking them up, right? Talking about how amazing they are and how good they are, right? Or even if you don't feel like they're totally amazing, find one really good thing that you love about them, right? Like, oh, I love the way that, they're able to take care of their children, or I love the way that they're really into crafts. Like, I just don't have that skill, right? Like, whatever it is, but find something that you love to talk up about people and become the community, create that sense of belonging that you are looking for. And then the other one is mentorship. I really do believe that mentorship helps you along your journey, your hero's journey, so that way you can, get through this really difficult process wherever you are. Again, but I was talking about careers and business, but it could even be in love and relationships and just personal growth and things like that too. I don't think it can be emphasized enough how much a mentor can help you with that. And then I think the last thing for belonging, right? So again, in order to focus on the belongings, that way we can diminish some of the imposter syndrome, is this goes back to my shame-based thinking, but you need to okay. This is one of the things that I don't remember which episode I talked about this on, but it has to do with like the things that you say to yourself, right? And sometimes we make promises to ourselves and then we don't even keep the promise. And when you do that over and over and over again, even if nobody else knows, that starts to chip away at your self-confidence and your ability to feel like, I'm here, I did what I needed to do, I belong. So start to notice the little promises that you make to yourself, and just decide to keep them. So don't start big, start small. The small thing could be, you know what? I promise I'm going to clean the dishes in the sink tonight, right? How often have you said that and then you just leave them and you're like, I'll just do it tomorrow morning, right? Well, instead of leaving it to tomorrow morning, actually do it, because you said to yourself, I'm going to do it tonight, right? And when you promise yourself you're going to do something and then you actually do the thing, it starts to build up your confidence of your ability to do things. So a part of the imposter syndrome is that, oh, I don't believe I belong, I don't believe I fit in, and I don't believe I can do the thing that people think that I'm able to do, right? And so it starts with the promises that you make to yourself, and you gradually over time make those promises bigger and bigger and bigger, to include doing the things that maybe you really, really don't want to do. You know, like, man, I really had a really bad argument with my significant other, and I think it stemmed from some sort of trauma response. And I really don't want to get into this, but I promised that I would be a better partner for my significant other. So I'm going to do this, right? I'm going to have the conversation. It's going to be uncomfortable, but I promised that I was going to be better, right? If you promise that you were going to be a better partner, and then something like this comes up and you know that you need to talk about it, and then you don't talk about it, it reduces your confidence. You're just like, oh, I can't even keep the promises to myself. And then how could I possibly keep a promise to somebody else? Or how could I possibly do this new thing that I've never done before? How could I possibly move forward if I can't even keep the promises that I've made to myself? So that's a big one. And maybe we need to spend some more time on that. If this is a new concept for you, please let me know in the comments. Like, if this is brand new, if you've never heard this before, let me know. I really do think we don't talk about this little thing enough, but I know that if you started to do even the small things, and like I said, gradually move up to bigger promises, then you start to gain confidence in yourself and your abilities. Even if it's something brand new, even if you're not necessarily an expert at it, you know that you can at least give it a try to the best of your ability. So that, in combination with a mentor, that in combination with building communities around you where you can feel like you belong, I believe those are the three major things that'll help you navigate imposter syndrome. So that way you don't have it, or at least you can reduce it to a level that doesn't stop you from living out your true calling or your purpose. I mean, I can't even begin to, I'm about to do a 2-day virtual book tour summit, right? It starts this evening. If you're on here and you're registered, and I'm going to see you in about an hour and a half, awesome. Can't wait to see you there. But I say this because a lot of new authors, they have a huge, the thing that blocks them the most is an imposter syndrome. Like, is someone really going to want to read what I'm writing? Does somebody really care about my story? Like, is this really going to make a dent in the world at all? Right? Like I don't think so. Essentially is the answer. I think the answer is no. It's all of those questions. And so you feel like an imposter. You feel like you're out there writing, but you don't really feel like there's a yes to any of those other questions that I asked. And so that creates feelings of imposter syndrome. And so how can we change that? And so we're building community, right? I am the mentor. I'm creating the mentorship. And then I'm helping people with their confidence by creating small commitments and promises that they can make to themselves. So that way this builds up their confidence that they can do the big thing at the end, which is to actually finish writing the book and then get it edited and then finally self-publish. So this, honestly, guys, I really do feel like these 3 ways are key, super key when thinking about imposter syndrome. Okay. So as a recap, if you're just popping on, I really believe that imposter syndrome is not necessarily a thing of confidence, like, oh, that person has low self-esteem. I don't believe it's just based on low self-esteem. I really think imposter syndrome has a lot to do with one's sense of belonging. And if you feel like you belong with a group of people in a certain situation, then that imposter syndrome will go away. And so how can we work on those things? I gave 3 tips. One is to create the community of belonging that you want to see in the world, right? Like, foster good relationships, be the person who's creating that. 2, get a mentor, somebody who can help you along your hero's journey. So that way you can navigate through the hard times and know that you're not alone and that someone has done this before you. And then 3, start actually doing the promises that you said you were going to do to yourself, or fulfill on the promises that you made to yourself. Start fulfilling the promises that you made to yourself. Start off small and gradually get bigger. But I'm telling you, if you do that, that will help with your confidence. It'll help with some of the self-esteem that people definitely are correct about, and that imposter syndrome definitely has self-esteem has an impact on imposter syndrome as well. So if you do those 3 things, I believe that will help mitigate the imposter syndrome and help you live a more fulfilled, intentional, purpose-driven life. All right. I hope this helped you. Again, please put in the comments or in the chat if it did. If you have any questions, let me know as well. You guys know I love being on this journey with you. I'm just here to support and have another listening ear to hear and talk things through. Talk things out through. You can talk to me. We'll talk through it. Have a great rest of your evening. Bye, everyone.